I've been selling handmade goods now online for 7 years. I sell on Etsy and on Shopify. I've used a few different strategies to price my items and I want to share them with you.
Hi, my name's Becky, and if you're new here, I make sun catchers and sun catcher DIY kits with video tutorials. I started Veneer Creations in 2017 and since then it has become a full-time successful business.
Now, a lot of people worry about how to price their items. They worry about charging too much or too little, but I'm here today to show you exactly how I price my items to make it a little bit easier. There's a lot of things to think about when pricing your items. For instance, every single business has different kinds of costs. So here is one of my handmade sun catchers that take a long time, at least 10 hours for me to make. And here's one of my DIY kits, which literally takes minutes for me to make. So they're priced very, very differently. And sometimes the strategy that I use to price these items can differ. If you feel like you've put an item up and you've priced that item wrong, there is no shame in changing the price of that item either. Businesses do it all the time and you really don't need to be so hard on yourself. One person's opinion on how you've priced your item is completely different to the next, so please do not let one person's opinion get you down about your handmade items. A good thing to do before you start pricing your item is to look at other items online similar to yours. There's going to be probably a big difference between, like, say if you're selling a bracelet, the prices of bracelets. Some of them can be like £3, some of them can be like £13. But sometimes the difference between the £3 and the £13 can be how the person's marketed the item, how they're packaging the item. There's so many things to take into how you're going to price your item. When you're online checking to see what other people have priced their items, please don't be put off by people that are reselling. People that are reselling items can be really obvious to customers. The one thing that you can get from this is look at this item and see, how could you make yours better? How could you make yours more appealing to a customer? It could be the packaging, it could be how you've personalised it, it could be the reason behind that bracelet. You can really make your item have that wow factor compared to these resellers that sell at £3, £2 an item. When you are pricing your item, you want to take into consideration a few different expenses. So the main expenses that you're going to have are your materials, your shipping, your time, which is very, very valuable. These costs can go up and down depending on how many sales that you make. And then you have your costs that can pretty much stay the same all the time, which we would call your overheads. Now, as your business grows, your overheads will get higher, so how you price your items can change. It all depends on how big your business gets. But for a small business, the next formula that I'm going to give you pretty much will stay the same until you become very large and probably have more staff. Maybe you'll rent a property and things like that, and that's when you're really going to have to change your pricing strategy. So now I'm going to share with you the most common pricing strategy. Now, you don't have to completely stick to this. Some people will say that you do, but I personally don't think you have to completely stick to this strategy. So the first thing you want to do is look at your time and the time that it takes to make your item. That is the very first thing that I would look at. So how you want to do this is, what would you want to pay yourself, or if anyone did start to work with you in the future, what would you pay them? So then you want to times your hourly rate by how many hours it's taken you to make that item. Now it might be less than an hour, so it might be 0.5 hours, it could be 0.25 hours, but you want to times it by how long it takes you to make the item. That figure will then be your time. Next, what you want to do is get your materials. So all the materials it took to make your item. Please do not forget your packaging. Please do not forget your marketing, your leaflets, your stickers, everything. You might just want to have, sometimes people just have like an amount that they put on this, so like £1 or £2, depending on how much your shipping items and marketing items cost. But a lot of people leave these things out, so please make sure you put them in there. So next, what you want to do is you want to add these materials to your time, and then you want to times it by 2. When you've times that by 2, that will be your wholesale price. Now, I have only just recently started selling wholesale, but if you're not planning on selling wholesale, it's fine. You don't have to have wholesale. You can just have this as a figure to help you to get to your retail figure. So then what you want to do when you've got that figure is times it by 2 again, and you'll have your retail price. Now, this does not mean that you have to keep your item at this price. For instance, you might find that this item sells really well at this price and you might want to put it up When you do this, my strategy would be 20%. Put it up by 20%. If that looks too much, then maybe put it down a bit. You can kind of feel the price that you want your item to be at. But personally, 20% always works for me. If I think that an item's done really, really well and I just feel like I could probably make a little bit more from that item, I'll put it up by 20%. If I feel it's really not selling, I'll put it down by 20%. Or you don't have to put it down by 20%, you could just put a sale on. The best thing for you to do now with this strategy is use it on your own items and see what price is coming out. If this strategy hasn't worked for you and you feel like you've way under or way overpriced yourself, please do not worry. You can price your items differently to this. It is just a really good, simple way to price your items that works for a lot of people in the handmade business. So another reason why I think this strategy doesn't always work is because the materials that you purchase at the minute when you're starting out may not be from a wholesaler's. You may just be trialing out some materials from eBay, from Amazon, and they will be a lot more expensive than they're probably going to be in the future. So your profit margins in the future, when you start to make more money, will go up a lot more. And that's why on my Patreon I do share a lot of wholesalers with people to use that are really, really good people who are starting out. Especially, like, I've got a really good bead wholesaler and a jewellery wholesaler on there. So if you are wanting them, please join our business tier on Patreon. I'm also going to share on my Patreon the materials that I use in my DIY kits and the price that I pay now for my materials and the prices that I used to pay for them materials and the profit that I used to make, and the difference is huge. And this is why I strongly recommend that you're always looking for cheaper prices for your materials, and eventually, pretty much as soon as you can, starting to buy wholesale when you're really starting to make them sales. This has completely changed my business from making a profit of this to this year making a profit of this in the last year. This is my percentage of profit just in the last year. I just want to share how I price my items at the moment. So with my DIY kits, because I have managed to get wholesale items for all of my DIY kits now, that has made them a lot cheaper to make. I have just done a very simple formula with them. So with them, they don't take a lot of time to make. So what I do with my items is I just get the materials and I times it by 4. It's really simple. Then I'll look at that price and I'll look at my other items on my website and I'll think, do I need to make it 20% more or 20% less? And that's literally how I do my DIY kits. Some people may completely disagree with how I do that, but it works for me, and you can see how much profit, this is my percentage of profit this year, that it works. And this is what I mean. Everybody is different how they price their items. Use the first strategy because that's the best strategy to use for someone who's starting out. And then eventually you'll come up with your own strategy on how to price your items. Now, like I said before, on my Patreon, on the small business tier, I share where I'll get all my wholesale items, which has been a complete game changer for me. I also share with you how you can get your own wholesale items if you sell very different items to me. And also this week I am sharing all the costs to all my items, and I'll be sharing the difference between buying from retailers and buying from wholesalers and the difference that's made to my business. As you can see, pricing your items is different for everybody. This is why the first strategy works for most people, but really pricing your items is completely personal to you. So use that, but also keep in mind that you can price your items how you want. You may have amazing marketing skills, which means you can price your items higher. You may have brilliant photography skills, which means you can price your items higher. You may have amazing packaging that just works so well. So always make sure that you play around with your pricing. You can put things up by 20%. If people stop purchasing from you, put that price down again and just see what happens. Running a small business is about trying different things, and I've definitely done this plenty of times in the past. At the moment, my prices really work for me and I'm at a place that is just amazing, making the profit that I am. I really do hope that this video helps you in your small business journey. Please let me know if I've helped you down below or if there's a different video you want me to make next time. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about good financial decisions that I've made as a small business and mistakes that I have made and that I have now overcome. So please like the video and subscribe to see that video. See you in the next one. Bye!